What's happening, team? It's Liam from Lazarus Personal Training, back again with another edition of After Dark, where I review AEW Dark. Slightly different take on it this week, rather than reviewing match by match, because I'm going to be completely honest, it took the entirety of my day and it just got to a point where I was getting completely burnt out with it, and there's only so much Rene if I can take. Rather than doing it that way, I thought I'd look at it from a certain point of view and then bring aspects into it. So I'm not going to look at every single match, I'm not going to talk about every single match, but I'm going to try and take highlights from it so we can still utilise that to look at what do we need to do to take ourselves to the next level, or as a wrestling fan, what exactly is making up the people that we like and the people that we aren't exactly drawn to. I think one of the prevalent themes when it comes to AEW Dark is really, how do we take someone from Dark to Dynamite? And that question pretty much revolves around the fact of, how do we make a TV star? And this is different from how are you good at wrestling. My prime example of this, and if you've watched this, you know exactly what I'm going to talk about. Max Caster for me is a TV star. Let me break down why. This week on AEW Dark, he had that promo segment where he's talking about going into the Revolution ladder match and taking out 10, and it was just spot on. And someone else that I want to give credit to here is Anthony Bowens. The Acclaimed as a tag team are fantastic, because you would think, oh, Max Caster, he has the mic, he's the talking guy. But that's not the case at all, because Anthony does all the talking, Max just does the rapping, and I think that combination there is really smart from both of them, and smart from whoever put that into action, because Anthony can talk. Like, he's very good on the mic and he's very good with his facials. That combination is just class. Anyway, back to my point. Had the promo segment, perfect. Why they aren't on Dynamite, I don't know. The most entertaining thing I see every time that they come on. And then Max's match against Jj Garrett. JJ put in a really good show for himself, but you just have to look at how Max moves around, his build, the way that his gear talks about who he is, the way that he carries himself, his movement, his charisma, all fit into this package of what Max Caster is, and you only have to watch 2, 3, 4 minutes of a match to work out what that character is, and that for a TV product is incredibly important. I think another couple of matches to look at here, the Abaddon, Rene, Michel match was fantastic and told a story, and I think they've done a really good job with Abaddon and building her up as a gimmick character, which you don't see much nowadays, and I think it's a bit of a lost art, and I think Abaddon does a fantastic job out of it. What I liked about it is that they told the story that Rene was scared of Abaddon, and they didn't just go in and go lock up, wrist lock. There was a difference to it that immediately made it pop for me. I think Top Flight are TV personalities. I think they've got a great look. I think the chemistry that they have together, I like the fact that they look like a tag team, and they obviously are a tag team, being brothers, and this just goes to show that you don't have to be a loud vocal personality to be a TV character. Their work stands out. You can tell who Top Flight are. If you took away everything and you just had bodies like on SmackDown vs Raw, where you've got green and red, and you can tell what wrestler does the move, you can tell who Top Flight are when they move around, and that for TV, incredibly important. And then the final one to bring up on this is Orange Cassidy and what was his name? I've done it again. Steve Stetson. Orange Cassidy against Steve Stetson. I think Steve Stetson did a good job of playing into that. They used the hat, it was good. Orange Cassidy messed up on his nip up, but then made it part of who Orange Cassidy is, and then got up and then was just like, meh, whatever. Orange Cassidy goes to the extreme length of what character is, and I think, again, that's what we need to do to make it work on TV. And then on the flip side of that, let me talk about some people that I think need to improve in order to become more TV personality, or at least have more TV about them. First person that I'll mention, probably to the surprise of nobody if you've watched this, VSK. Who is VSK? What does VSK stand for? I don't know anything about this from his wrestling style. His gear that we're talking about on Dark today was about where he's from, which can work if that place has character. If someone is from, say for example, New Jersey and the Jersey Shore, then yes, that's a character. If someone is from Florida and they are doing a Florida gimmick, then yes, that works as well. But apparently I couldn't even tell you where he was from. He's just the colours of the team or whatever is on his gear, and that works within that area, because then people go, oh, he's from where I am. But TV, a global presence doesn't mean anything. And then again, what does VSK stand for? Like, what does that mean on a whole? He did some cool stuff today, and I like him as a wrestler, don't get me wrong. I think he moves incredibly well, I think he's there for everything, I think he's a great hand. But in order for VSK to go up to this next point, I need to know more about him. Now, is this a down point on the side of Dark for not giving these people the time to bring forward a character, to explain who VSK is? Maybe on his entrance, could he have a 20-second talking head package or just something like that to flesh him out a little bit more? Yeah, potentially, but they're giving him a match, and on that front he needs to take that match and go, right, okay, how can I showcase myself even more than he is doing already? And then finally on this point, again, if you've watched this before, you probably know what I'm going to say, Lee Johnson and Aaron Solo. Now, as I've talked about previously, sometimes you get put in with a gimmick, so they are under the Nightmare family, the Nightmare Factory collective, and that's given them a push in the right direction, and that's given them some identity, which is good. My problem with it is that then it's not fleshing out who they are. For Lee Johnson, cool, you can do a nip up and you can do the chest beating thing. That moment of fire doesn't translate into the rest of the match. I forgot he was on the apron. I didn't see any build from him. I didn't see any want for him to come into the ring. So you're telling me that he goes from being completely zero to coming in a house of fire, I'm going to say, to then nip up and do his chest beating thing, to then drop back down again. That level needs to come up throughout the entirety of the match, because again, he moves well, he obviously understands wrestling, he's a young lad, but we need that personality to come through him more in order to translate onto TV. There's only so far you can take it with, oh yeah, but he's good at wrestling though. And I love wrestling. I could sit and watch people wrestle and go hold for hold, back and forth all day long. But when it comes to a TV product, when it comes to being on a global product where you have 5, 10, 15 minutes to sell yourself every single week, it needs more than just being a good wrestler. Same thing for Aaron Solo again. Who is he in this mix? Because at the moment, he's just getting beat up and he's just a bit of a dog's body. And if he's being asked to get beat up, be a dog's body, then so be it. He's being asked to do that and he's doing his job. But I feel like he could do even more with that to make them go, actually, we're doing this lad an injustice. And this is the hard point with this. And this is the hard point with wrestling, is that sometimes as wrestlers we get asked to do things that don't particularly benefit us, that we're putting people over, that we're not allowed that chance to shine. And sometimes we got to go, yeah, hands up, cool, no worries. Just not my time, it's just not my place. And other times we get that push to go further. But if we can make sure that we put ourselves in line for that push by doing certain things that are going to elevate us up, I think then that's where we can progress, if the aim is to progress onto Dynamite. For some people, they might say, for example, Aaron Solo, he's done this 12, 13 years now. He might be like, you know what, I've got a contract, I've got a steady spot, this is going to line me up for some coaching stuff at the Nightmare Factory in the future. Boom, sorted, I'm good. And if that is his end point, fantastic, I'm happy for him. If for some of these people it's just a case that they've appeared on AEW Dark, that means that their name is in the history books for AEW, and then when they can go home, they can go, you know what, I've done that, that's my piece, then class, I am happy for them. If AEW comes over to England, and that is a chance for someone to get onto an AEW show, not get signed, but say, you know what, I was on there, or likewise for WWE and having a WWE tryout and never getting signed, and that is, yep, I've ticked that off, I'm happy with that, then class. But what I'm looking at here is, if we have aspirations to go right up onto a main show, how do we go about doing that? That was very long. If you sat through that, thank you. And finally, just some bits to go home with. There were too many lock-up wrist lock exchanges on this show. Now, I get these probably not filmed in sequence, this isn't filmed as like a card, these are just matches that they're doing. But please, if you are doing a wrist lock exchange, if you are doing any sort of tech, make it mean something, and don't just have it where, okay, I've done a wrist lock and now you do a wrist lock. It's boring, it's been done. And when we are on precious time with TV, make it mean something. This is the best that I've seen Austin Gunn since he started, and I just wanted to give him credit on that, because this is the most comfortable that I've seen him. I actually sort of liked him this week. I actually went, you know what, you're a bit charismatic, I like you. And that's the first time that I've done that. And as a face tag team, He needs to be liked. And just as a finish off thing, I want more promo time for people. I want that side of it to come through because I think it's sorely missing for these AEW Darks. Yes, it's just a wrestling show that they put on YouTube, but give me a bit more promo time. Let me understand who these people are. Even get Taz and Excalibur to put over the characters a little bit more because I think that they go in a bit blind to it too. And then maybe, just maybe, I can warm to VSK a little bit more. And that's it for this week of After Dark. What did you think to the new setup, to the new layout of the video? I think this works better, mainly because I've not spent all day doing this, but also I think it's a little bit more concise while saying the same thing, and also I'm not going through every single match, so I quite like it. And really, if I like it, then I'm going to keep doing it. But what do you think? Would you prefer to see me sit through every single episode of Dark? If you do, let me know. I probably won't do it, but I appreciate the comment. As always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it if you're enjoying After Dark, and most importantly, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel because it massively helps. And I'm on a bit of a roll with putting out videos recently. I'm talking about AEW Dark, I'm talking about Pursuit Pro Wrestling, I'll probably end up talking a bit more about the gyms when we go back into gyms, so it's all going well. I've been Liam from Lazarus Personal Training, and I will see you next time.